Hello, this is Mr. Jarrett, and welcome to one of my Tech Ed computer classes. I have Google Chrome open right now, and I am going to walk you through how to get to my website and how to actually do day one, even though each one of the classes are slightly different. So with the internet open, and mainly Google Chrome, I'm just going to simply go up to a search engine, and I'm going to have to type in www.seal-pa.org. I have found that if you just type in seal-pa.org, sometimes at school, probably not at home, but at school, you will get blocked for some reason, even though it cuts out the www here. So once you are at our district site, you need to scroll your mouse over the button that says schools and go down to high school. And if you scroll down on the right side, there's a spot that says teachers. When the alphabet pops up, you're going to select the J. And as of right now, I am the only person at the high school, the only teacher at the high school with the last name that starts with a J. So it's pretty easy to find me. There's going to be a spot here that says website, Mr. Jarrett's Tech Ed. Depending on what your screen looks like, yours might be down in this area, but mine is right over here. So select Mr. Jarrett's Tech Ed. And this is my website itself. So there's a lot of stuff on here that pertains to all different classes. For instance, there's my contact information if you need to email me or call my room number. You will also see here that there is step-by-step instructions for doing work at home. So whether you are working in a SolidWorks class, maybe even a Dreamweaver class, or Adobe Illustrator class, whatever, you can do work at home by following these directions. So I have a video explanation. I have step-by-step written directions of how to log in. I even tell you how to sync your Google Drive so that you can actually open up your files from your Google Drive. There's tutorials here if it does not work, and there's a video that explains this as well. So everything is here. It shows you step by step how to actually do work from home. Scrolling down a little bit further, you can actually see the different classes that I teach. And I actually this semester am teaching Manufacturing Technology 2 as well. So I teach a good majority of the classes and our Tech Ed department. You can see kind of a couple of the pictures that from different examples of the classes that I teach. But what I want you to do is go up to the drop down where it says classes and find the class that you are actually in. So I'm just going to do this with my visual design class. So if you're in TechDraw 1 or TechDraw 2 or design engineering, the steps are all going to be very, very, very similar, but it's just going to be a different folder that we're eventually going to download. So find the class that you are in and select that, and you will see on any one of these classes. So I'll just open up a few more just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. But for any one of these classes, you actually have some of a similar layout towards the top of the screen. What I tried to do is just make everything very similar from class to class, so it's pretty easy to understand and get familiar with. So as you can see, my computer's loading here. It's a little bit slow. Just opened up a lot all at once. Try this again. All right, so for my visual design class, you can see up at the top, I have some different resources, some learning opportunities. Maybe I might have some enrichment up here. I have directions of how to go back to the home page and for doing work at home. And then on all of my class websites, I have a simple Google Doc. Okay, the Google Docs sometimes are color coordinated. For this class, I use rubrics more than others in this class, so I actually have things labeled with colors for rubrics when you need to hand one in, when we're doing a mini lesson from an Adobe, or when I'm 100% teaching that lesson. But any one of these websites, now that they're all loaded, you can see this. So again, SOLIDWORKS tutorials, doing stuff at home, that's TechDraw 1. TechDraw 2, SOLIDWORKS tutorials, doing stuff at home. Design engineering, same thing, okay? So for any one of these situations, I have this Google Doc. and I have the classes labeled. I'll have the assignments, and they're normally in order, even though they're bulleted. It's pretty much from top down what I would follow if I was there teaching it to you. And then over on the right side, you're going to have maybe video links, presentations, resources, extra stuff that we would also use in that class. Sometimes I'll put helpful things in here. It says, do you need extra help like this, help videos. So they're just resources. Sometimes you use them, sometimes you don't. Okay. But you will see for day one, no matter what class you're in, visual design, Tech-Draw 1, 2, or design engineering, for class one, I pretty much do the same thing every single time. I go through the syllabus. Sometimes I have a promo video or I go through a slideshow. So just going over to Tech-Draw 1 to kind of show you. Tech-Draw 1 here, I do the same thing. I go through the syllabus and slideshow. And then we do this computer setup. So this is the thing that I'm going to try to do with you. And it's going to be different depending on what class you're in, what computer you're on. So this is kind of tough to do virtual, but I'm going to do my best. And your computer is definitely different than mine because I already have some of these things set up. Okay, so the first thing is called dual screening. So if you are at home and you have maybe a TV in your room or a TV somewhere in your house, or maybe you have a second computer monitor, you can actually dual screen so you have two different screens. Now you can do all the work for my classes without dual screening, but in my actual classroom, I have the option and ability to use dual screening, so we go through those settings. Okay, and in order to dual screen, you need to go to your desktop, you need to right click with your mouse and hit display settings. So when display settings pops up, normally if you have your second monitor plugged in, so your TV or computer monitor plugged into your laptop, you will see a number 1 and a 2, and it's trying to recognize the different screens. So this is my laptop, this is my other screen, it's kind of a bigger square monitor. And if you scroll down, you will see the option here where it says multiple displays. So in class, we actually changed this from duplicate to extend. So duplicating just means the same picture is going to be on both screens. Well, that's not really helpful. Okay. Extending, however, means that we now have one massive screen between these two. So if I took this and drug this from number 1 over to number 2, which you currently can't see, this window is actually popping up on number 2. Okay. So once you have those settings changed, you can hit apply. Normally that pops up right about here. We can close out. The next computer setup that we're going to be doing is actually signing into our Drive file stream. So if you're wondering why the screen may have changed here, it's because this is actually an updated section to this video. Google has since changed from what I used to use to this new program called Drive file stream. So in order to do that, you are going to go to your Start menu. And when this pops up, you're going to scroll all the way down and you will see in the D section, Drive file stream. Now, I already have my Google Drive synced to my computer, so I'm not unfortunately going to be able to show you this entire thing, but this is pretty easy. You simply click on that, and once that program loads, it's going to ask you to sign in with your school account. You just simply type in your school email, school password, and you're going to hit next, 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 next until you're pretty much done. At the very end, it'll open up a folder that looks like this, and it'll say My Drive. Okay, so your Google Drive is just like your backpack online, is what I used to say. I know some students are familiar with OneDrive from Microsoft. They're basically the same products. They're just two rival companies. So that would be like Nike and Adidas. They both sell shoes and clothes. Well, Google offers Google Drive, and Microsoft offers OneDrive. It's the exact same thing. We're going to use this instead of OneDrive because I have actually had plenty of my files from my Illustrator classes or my SolidWorks classes just disappear in our OneDrive system for some reason. But I've never had that happen with Google Drive. But anyways, once this folder pops up, you can just minimize this for right now. Please don't close out because you're actually going to need this. And then you're going to continue on with the Chrome web browser settings. Okay. The next thing would be using your Chrome web browser. So if you open up Google Chrome you are going to go up in the top right. You'll see there's a little icon up here. Sometimes it's the first initial of your name, sometimes it's a person. That is how you sign in. So if you click on that, there's normally a button right here that actually says turn on syncing. And you're going to click on that button and you are actually going to sign in with your school account. Do not sign in with your personal. Then a window will pop up and you will click link data. Once you are signed into the web browser, we are then going to change some settings. So the settings button is up here in the top right. It's these 3 vertical dots. You're going to go down to settings. Once your settings page loads, if you scroll all the way down, the 2 settings that I have written there that I'd like you to change is setting Google Chrome as your default web browser. Personally, I think Google Chrome is one of the better default web browsers. I do know Microsoft Explorer sometimes crashes and it doesn't allow a lot of things to open on our school server, but I've never really had a problem with Google Chrome too much. So if this is not already set, you'll simply click on it. Sometimes it'll pop up a window and it'll show you like Microsoft Edge. You might have to click on Microsoft Edge and change that to Google Chrome being your default web browser. And then this is a very helpful one that a lot of people don't know about, but this says on startup. So on startup, I have selected continue where I left off. So all of these tabs that I have open right now, if I were to close out of the internet, shut my computer down and open it back up tomorrow, all of these tabs would open right back up. So you're continuing where you left off. You don't have to go back through and find everything. I think that's very helpful. Okay, so those are the 2 settings. Now we have our folder set up. So for every single class, I have the same exact directions, but this folder is actually different depending on the class. So obviously, if you were in TechDraw 1, you need to be on the TechDraw 1 page for this because that link is going right to the TechDraw 1 folder. Same thing with TechDraw 2, be on that page, visual design, and so on. So this is the same directions, but a different link each and every time. So it's the same process. So basically it says folder setup. So if you click on this, it's going to open a compressed folder. So this is a folder that I put together that basically has a whole bunch of demos and other files that you may need. And in here, you will see that it is kind of compressed. So you can actually view the different stuff that's in here if you'd like, but really all we need to do is just download this. So open the top right-hand corner, there's a little button that says download. It's with an arrow pointing down. So when you click on that, it's probably going to just download right to your downloads folder. So I have my computer set to prompt me where it wants to download to, but for you, it's probably going to go right to your downloads folder. So once it has downloaded, you will see it down here in this bottom corner. And you can actually just click on this button, this little arrow, and you can hit show in folder. Or you can just open up your downloads folder. It's the same thing. So what I have here is my downloads folder on my left, and I have my Google Drive on my right. So this zipper itself is a compressed folder, meaning it's a much larger folder that was zipped up tight so that it was kind of compressed and it's a smaller sharing size, and now you have to unzip it. So there's 2 ways you can unzip it. You can right click and hit extract all and then just hit OK, and it will make a copy with no zipper on it. Or you can just double click on this and there's the folder you need. I think that's much easier. So I would recommend just double clicking on the one with the zipper so that you see the folder without a zipper. And then all you're going to do is drag your class folder. So if it's TechDraw 1, TechDraw 2, Design Engineering, or Visual Design, you're just going to drag this over to where it says My Drive. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I already have this folder. But once you do that, basically you just drug the demo folder right into here, or your class folder right into your drive. So this might seem a little kind of counterproductive, or why are we downloading something from online, putting it in a folder if we want this to be all online? Well, this folder system, your drive file stream, is actually a folder that constantly syncs to the internet. So by you taking this folder and putting it in there, it's not only on your computer itself to work on, but it's also synced to the internet. So now you could open it up on your phone, you could open it up numerous different places, and it will be the exact same thing. Now coming back to my directions, I not only have this
set up here where it's typed out. Obviously, you're watching this video, but right underneath the video for most of my classes, it says follow the above video, but use this web app to extract the folder. So I know a lot of my students are using Chromebooks, and what I'm kind of showing you right here of moving folders around is very difficult to do on a Chromebook. So this app is basically a zip extractor. So when I click on this, it brings up this website and it's going to ask you, what do you want to extract? So you can use these different settings. Since I'm not on a Chromebook, I apologize, but I'm not really sure if your downloads go to your computer or they go to your drive, but you're going to open the folder that you downloaded for class and it will extract it here, and then you can choose where you actually want to save it. So another way of saving, say you are on an actual laptop, maybe you're all working from home 100%, you don't want to use the school's computer, you're trying to do this at your home computer, okay? And maybe you don't have Drive File Stream or whatever the case may be. I kind of need to explain this to everybody as well because this should be obvious, but most people don't get this. Just because you downloaded Drive File Stream as a folder does not mean it is not an internet accessible thing. If you go to a new tab and you just type in drive.google.com, drive.google.com, as you see, this is going to your Google Drive. Okay, this is Google Drive Online. This is the exact same thing as my Google Drive right here as a folder. It's the exact same thing, except one is through an internet web browser, one is through a folder on your computer. Same thing though, as you can see. See how I have all my listings here? They're the exact same thing. So if you don't have this folder system, you can always just drag and drop stuff to drive.google.com and it will upload it. So let's get back to this list though. The last thing on my computer setup list is basically opening up the program for that class. So for visual design, we use Adobe Illustrator. All my other classes, we normally use SolidWorks. And the reason I'm having you open up the program on the first day is to see that you know it's there, to see it's actually functioning correct, to get through all of the pointless little updates or warnings or acceptings that it asks you to do, and then to pin it to the taskbar. So once your program is open, your taskbar that's normally at the bottom of your screen, mine is actually moved off to the side of my screen, you'll be able to right click on it and hit pin to taskbar. That way it'll stay down there for you at all times.